talking with Jay Brown in Studio B on WNCW this afternoon as we've been diving into the new Best of Jay Brown's 3-disc set. If you got another song for us.
I sure do, yeah. So for an intro for this song, if you don't mind, I'd like to use a joke from my friend Michael McNevin, who's up here visiting, as I said, from Niles, California. Although it's going to cost me $1 because he writes his own jokes. And so let's see now if I can get this right. So Jose Feliciano was bathing his dog for Christmas. But the fleas never died. The fleas never died. Give a little pause for the listening area to groan or chuckle. Okay, this is called One Windy Day. A boy and a dog and a little green ball were playing one day on the beach. They were having great fun, running under the sun, laughing and barking in the sand, till along came a breeze, blew the ball out to sea, too far for the boy and dog to reach. And the undertow was strong, so it wasn't too long. The little ball was miles away from land. Well, the little green ball seemed exceedingly small if you saw it floating on the mighty sea. To the seagulls it seemed just a little speck of green. Fishes thought it was a bobber, but to one boy and girl it seemed big as the world. The two little castaway fleas, two love bugs in June on a flea honeymoon, lying up out the pool of dog slobber. Well, the little green ball floated on, and the fleas multiplied and prospered. Flocks of fleas of every color, every class, and every creed, living in peaceful harmony. Days and nights drizzled down as they floated around, riding on waves and cross currents, and they never did fight or act out of spite. None of them would even harm a flea. But there came the dark hour when the weather turned sour, and many a flea lost his life at sea. That was when there appeared the dark shadow of fear, and the fleas began pleas for security. But on how to provide it, the fleas were divided. Flea unity flew out the window. And though the weather had cleared, they still lived in fear, for uncertainty grows as the wind blows. Flea Legion appeared to fight off the fear, and the fleas began praying to dog. Each flea legion claimed to know dog's name. Each one hated the other. Some fleas got mad and had a jihad for the glory of their dog Chihuahua. Other fleas got saved and waged a crusade for the glory of their dog Jerover. Flea countries emerged with their flea flags flying, fighting for their place in the sun. The Chi fleas fought the Soul fleas, the red coats fought the blues, the Eurofleans fought the Africans, the flea raps fought the flus, the United Fleas fought in Vietnam. Nobody knows who won. The Flea Flux Flan fought in Birmingham, and they all fought each other, for it's all said and done. But the country that won the place in the sun was the one called United Fleas. Round the top of the ball they put up a wall, but of course any flea could hop over it. And to make matters worse, their leader was cursed with a flip-flop and flip-flea affliction. He jabbered and jeered and stirred up the fears, and he secretly worked for the Sofleets. saw that little green ball since that one windy day on the beach. Didn't bother the boy, well, he had other toys, and the dog never once missed the fleas. But it still floats along like a lonesome old song, with never a soul within ear's reach. Just a planet of fleas adrift on the sea in the middle of Ball War III.
Well, that's a lot of puns, and it's only Monday.
Monday.
Jay Brown is live in Studio B on WNCW this afternoon. Talk about all of the different flavors of music that you get into, because a lot of people know you more in the singer-songwriter vein, but, you know, a wide kaleidoscope of sounds. You know, you've got with Shantavani, with Aditya, and also with Appalachians and playing with folks like River Kerkarian, and your trips to Ghana. And so you've got a lot of different styles going through your collection.
Yeah, it's a world of music.
Yeah.
Aditi and I have a few bands together. Shantavani was one. Now we usually go by Aditi and Jay. And we sometimes it'll be just the two of us, and sometimes we'll play with some of our friends, like Scott Sheeran is a wonderful flute player, and Jahidi is an amazing percussionist. And anytime we play together, we'll call our genre roots music, but like with what is our tagline? I forgot. Spirit-centered roots music. You know, contemplative music with roots. That's what we say. So you know, Aditi grew up with ancient Indian music in her childhood from her grandparents and from her father. So you know, being immersed in that world has been really wonderful for me. You know, to have that kind of opportunity and that kind of education of that style, and I've always been drawn to that style of music. But you know, to really have it in the house and you know in so close, you know, in the family, and it's wonderful. And then I guess there's the blues and jazz roots that you know I've been into for decades, and Doc Watson, of course, is a huge influence.
Oh yeah. How could he not be?
Yeah.
How do the other world traditions inform what you're doing with maybe more quote unquote straight ahead, your other style, your singer-songwriter sort of bent?
That's a great question. It depends on, I guess, what I'm writing for. Like lately, I've been trying to write actually for different bands. You know, like I'll try to write songs that I can hear Aditi singing, or songs that I feel like would work well with the Appalachians or Lazy Birds. So depending on that, you know, different flavors and different influences will come in to play.
I often think about influence and being informed as two siblings. Basically, they're not the same thing, though, and how being informed about music can give you insight into something where it doesn't show up. It's more like in the negative space, perhaps. It's in there somewhere, and it might turn on a light bulb or open a door for you.
Yeah, definitely. And sort of the approach that different musicians have is also a big influence. You know, like I may not ever be able to play guitar like Doc Watson, but just the way he approached music and the way he approached the music business was a very big influence for me.
Tell us about what's going on with Lazy Birds and that forthcoming Appalachians record.
Sure. So Lazy Birds, were just kind of getting back into it. Well, we never have really quit playing, but we've had lots of phases where we were kind of in low gear, and then we've had phases where we're picking it up a little bit, and I think we're starting to pick it up again. Our bass player Mitch kind of stepped away from the band for a few years. He lives on the other side of Deep Gap, and it was just getting too much to make it to these gigs over in Asheville, and then get back and coach soccer the next day and be with his kids, and he also is a full-time electrician. So he wanted to spend more time at home, and that was understandable. So in the meantime, we had other bass players come and play with us, and that was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot from them, and hopefully they learned something as well. And then now Mitch his kids are getting a little older, and he's itching to play, and so. And in the meantime, his youngest boy is now 17, and turns out to be a virtuoso piano player and can really swing. So we got back 2 for 1. So,
well, good. Yeah. And you've got a little family band too, right?
Yeah, that's right. So Sahana is 10, and she has been figuring out how to accompany herself on piano and sing her favorite songs, which are all stuff from the 60s. The whole family is basically oldies crazy right now. So it started with the Beatles and has now gone into just basically all, the Animals, Mamas and the Papas, the Monkees, the Zombies, all kinds of stuff. So this is the stuff that, we're hearing constantly in the house. Either they're playing it or singing it or it's on the radio. And see, Avi is 7. He's playing some drums and singing. And our 3-year-old Tashi is the rock star, without a doubt. He's going to be the rock star. He's always the one that wants to get the band together to practice, and any gig, if he shows up of my gigs, he'll be up there behind the mic, as soon as possible. So.
Good, love it.
Yeah, and Aditi, of course, when she is able, will join the family band. She'll play bass sometimes and sing, of course.
Yeah, it's like a little Lazy Bird's Partridge Family sort of parallel.
We're going to need a big van at some point.
Yeah. Tell us about how long did it take to choose all of the songs and whittle them down for your best of? That had to be hard.
That was a process. And there again, my kids were a big help with that, because a lot of the songs that made the cut were because they're the ones that my kids were gravitating towards. And some of the ones that would have made the cut didn't, because my kids were like fast forwarding through that one, when we were going through the process. So that had a big bearing on it. And just over the years, songs that people have come up to me and said that meant something to them, I wanted to make sure that those songs got on there. And songs that meant particularly, something for me, I wanted to put those on,
That sounds like a very good focus group to draw from.
Yeah, I trust my kids' taste, because, like I say, they know all the Beatles songs, and they seem to have a really good ear for things that are catchy but good. So a lot of times I lean on their judgment.
Awesome.